folks, welcome back to another episode of the Jagged Edge, the E3 2019 edition. It's Ian here along with Chris.
Hey, everybody.
What's up? What's up? What
Come on down and sit a spell, and we're going to talk about some games.
See, I was expecting you to make me one of those, like, balloon animals. You said that.
Oh, no. I'd actually, I'd start whittling. Give me a knife and a piece of wood. I'll make a PlayStation controller out of it.
That'd be awesome. I take it exclusive. Now, hey, hope you all have been good. And, hey, I'm sure anybody out there, look, if you've been keeping an eye on the gaming world, some form or another, you should have seen something about E3 now, or some conference, or something you followed. As always, as with each E3, there's a whole lot here. Even without Sony. No Sony this year.
Nope. That in itself is kind of a thing.
It is. That'd be it.
So, my biggest wish for this year did not come true. Because my biggest wish was that I want to know the release date for The Last of Us Part 2. And just because Sony's not there doesn't necessarily mean Naughty Dog's not going to be there.
Right.
And maybe they even were there, but nothing noteworthy came out of it. We did not get that release date. So I guess it's important that if you're looking for news on this, there is none. We have to wait. Sony's going to do some kind of separate conference at some point. I would suspect sometime in the next month.
Yeah.
But, yeah. But there's still a bunch here. A lot of really cool announcements. That being said, there's no way the two of us, and even this is probably going to... Do you want to make bets right now on how long this show is going to be, Ian?
Hour and a half.
It's at least an hour and a half, and we're still not going to cover everything.
No.
But we'll do the best that we can. If we leave something out, too bad. Too bad.
We missed it. Tell us about it in the comments, or lament later.
Or don't.
That's fine.
Yeah.
Speaking of Naughty Dog, I was wondering, do you think it's a possibility that they would delay something all the way to Tokyo Game Show? You think they'd go there?
No.
I doubt it.
Why?
Just wondering. I've never kept up with their presence.
Well, I guess as far as the Last of Us Part 2, why?
Yeah.
That's for me. Why would they do that?
I mean, that is a frontliner main stage PlayStation game. So
I have a feeling, because I think I talked to you about this. I might have done it on the show. I have a feeling that they are going hand in hand, because they are going to announce a remastered version of The Last of Us Part 2 for the PS5.
There you go.
And they didn't do that hand in hand with the Last of Us and then the PS4. But they did announce the remastered version of The Last of Us when they announced the PS4.
There you go.
So I have a feeling they're going to try to do it all at one time. Sure. That's my theory.
Fair enough.
And that would explain why they haven't said anything.
So you got to wait a little longer.
Yeah.
But, no E3. Before we get to games, before we get to the rest of the stuff about games, got to say, I can think of few E3s that are spared from controversy in one form or another, whether it's about a panel everybody hated or something else, something that came out. There was just a little short clip, and I actually found this out towards the end of things. I think I was looking at, after a lot of the conferences I'd watched, just looking for the show floor stuff. I had to do with the known Twitch streamer, Dr. Disrespect.
Dr. Disrespect.
got banned from both E3 and Twitch for
he ain't a Twitch streamer no more.
No.
At least right now he's not.
Yeah, there's still an unknown. There's a lot up in the air about what exactly is going to be the length of his ban, all that stuff. He's supposed to be coming out with some kind of video, some kind of statement about it. He actually made a post Twitter about it. He said something about like mishaps lead to explanations.
No, they don't.
So no, they don't, Chris. So it's I read that, but I said, man, look, no matter which way you dice it, I have a kind of difficult time navigating talking around this one. You just can't.
There is no good excuse for what happened.
To those of you who are curious, what's the issue? What are we talking about? He brought his his cameraman into the bathroom while he took a leak, and basically kept the stream rolling. Decided to live stream the bathroom. Turns out in frame there was a minor at one point as well. Besides just doing this whole thing, period, was just ridiculous.
Right. So it needs to be cleared up, though. Because if you might be thinking, and if you are thinking, well, what's the big deal? We see that stuff on TV all the... No, you don't. What you're actually seeing is something that was planned ahead of time and thought out in a controlled environment that may be a real environment, right, but a controlled environment where they're controlling what's happening, who's coming in or out, or there's at least agreements that this is, before they actually start recording.
Right.
That is not what he did. He just walked into a bathroom. And yeah, look, I get it, and for those who are like, oh, what's the big deal? Nothing happened. You know what? Nothing did happen. Nothing did happen. But all it takes is for that one super clumsy little kid,
yep,
to turn in the wrong direction or forget that he's urinating and like turn his whole body. Look, yeah. The potential of a minor being exposed, or even an adult, or someone who's handicapped. The potential of exposure there is absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
And I mean, look, I get it. You're at E3 and you're excited and you want to wow your crowd, and it's streaming and you got to up the ante. This was just sure, but you have to think about what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever. I mean, I know the guy's been around forever. I know who he is. I don't not watch him, but if there's something noteworthy that interests me and he's talking about it, I've seen him. I've seen him before.
Sure.
I don't really care one way or the other. This was just dumb, though. I mean, and he's lucky, honestly.
He is.
He's lucky.
He is.
I mean, especially something at E3. People are excited, and they, when people are excited, they do stupid things, like maybe take their live stream into a bathroom. He's lucky. If he comes out of this with an E3 ban for that year and a temporary ban on Twitch, he's lucky. I'm sorry, rant over.
No. Warranted. I think it's important to frame that in the wise. We talked a little bit about this beforehand. We're in an environment today that's more about what's the next big thing. How can you get more bombastic, rather than really thinking always about the repercussions or the full context, stuff like this. So, yeah, ridiculous. Kind of. I remember I read the article. I'm just like, wait, what? So, I know the other streamers and stuff, the way they responded to it is just sort of like, how we can't really think of real much of a legitimate response you can get to this, but this is going to keep unfolding. We'll see where it goes, and we'll probably hear more about it in the coming weeks. So.
I guess the only other thing I'd say is that, when you do see stuff that's live on TV and stuff like that, you have to remember there's also at least a 5 to 7 second delay on that as well, in case something like that does happen.
Right.
They can cut it out.
Right.
Not what you get on Twitch.
Right.
So yeah, that's dumb.
There you have it.
Don't be dumb.
Please don't.
We're gonna have. Speaking of which, the next topic's also really dumb.
Yeah, it is, man. Atari just can't seem to hit the right notes with this stuff. I remember when we first started getting some light details about this, and it was looking questionable then. But boy, it's looking more questionable now. That's the Atari VCS.
Yeah. The next best thing you'll never buy. Although, I might be wrong. This might actually come out. Which was my prediction, is that we'll never see this.
You're right.
But it looks like they're going to actually make a go of it.
Yeah.
2 different versions are coming out. By the way, I mean, here's the first thing. Okay, so what you're basically getting is you're getting a PC bundle with a bunch of old Atari games on it.
Yeah.
That is apparently going to play other games, although I don't think anyone's really announced anything for it yet. But you can stream on it with Netflix and everything. Your typical stuff. 2 different versions are going to come out. If you want to get your bare bones version, guess how bare bones that is, Ian? Have you read it? Do you know how bare bones that is?
It's a skeleton.
You don't even get a controller.
Yeah.
You don't even get a control. What the hell are you supposed to do with your console if you don't even have a control? You remember the old Atari controllers from 40 years ago?
Oh yeah.
You don't even get one of those. You don't even get a USB version of that. You have to pay $50 for it.
That's rough, man.
How cheap? How cheap are you? Oh man.
Well, like Kadala used to say in D3, that'll make a nice paperweight.
So the VCS 800 system is $389.99.
Gosh.
The VCS 400 version, $249.99. Neither of which are more powerful than your current PS4 Pro,
Oh.
or your Xbox One X. But these come out on sale next year. But they come out next year. Yeah. Yes. Yes.
And you gotta frame that. We're starting to talk Xbox, Project Scarlet, and PS5, man. Like
who cares? I'll have my Atari. I'll get the controller the year after. You can get bundles
right.
with the controller. It looks cool. I like the vintage look.
Mm-hmm. And
but
yeah,
I mean that's the whole thing. These things cost this much. By the way, people who donated. So if you've already deposited money into this project through the FundMe, you can buy it at the end of this year. Otherwise, I think you have to wait till sometime late first quarter, early second quarter next year.
Sheesh.
And yes, the same year that the PS5 and the Xbox, whatever the final name is, comes out. Yeah, so you could buy that, or you could buy an Atari loaded with dozens, maybe even hundreds of a Atari 2600 early 80s, some late 70s games. That's the last century.
Look,
that's last century we're talking.
There's a little bit of expansion available on this. Both the RAM at least.
Oh, that's yeah. This is the difference between the two, I think.
Yeah, you can tweak that out a bit. The 400 version, it's got 4 gigs of DDR4. You got the 800 version, it's got 8 gigs of DDR4. Then you got 32 gigs of storage, and that can also support an external hard drive as well. So I mean, there's some bells and whistles you can get. But let's face it, me at least, I'd rather spend that on my PC.
Yeah, I'd rather. Yeah, exactly.
So
this is. I mean, look. This is made for the most casual of gamers who are nostalgic for years gone by, who have money in their pocket, who have that kind of money to burn. This is something you see at Costco, which I'm sure you will.
Oh yeah.
At the end of the year, for the holidays. It's made for them. This is not made for people who know what the hell gaming is.
And there's just this thing called timing. It's one of those releases that is going to get caught up in the maelstrom of everything that's happening at the time. It's golly, it's going to be hard to not be drowned out.
There's an alternate universe in where KSOL Media was like super huge immediately and has millions of subscribers, and where I do a review video of the Atari VCS because we can blow that money, and at the end of it I blow it up. That's not this universe. That's the universe that Captain America got to marry what's her name, and I'm not gonna spoil anything.
Yeah.
It's that universe.
Okay, got it. Okay. Oh, I love it. Yeah.
That's all I just want to say. This thing, I mean, this is like I love stuff like this. It's just it's a train wreck. I like watching it. I mean, I'm in my early 40s. I grew up with an Atari, and then we got a Nintendo. But I mean, I've been there with home gaming since the beginning. I have fond memories of the Atari. I mean, obviously the company now and the brand now is so far from what it was. There's a part of me that's very nostalgic that would love to love this. I know better, and ever since they've announced it, I've known that this is going to be a bastardization of whatever it should have been. This isn't made to be a serious product. You're not made to actually enjoy this. This is made for rich people who will get nostalgic and like, oh, look, and it looks so sleek. That's not so bad. And, they buy, yeah, that's, it's not made for actual use.
Man, it's rough, dude. I've always said this, we're in the age of the remake and the revisit and all of this stuff, and I think there's going to be some point once we sort of get the rest of this out of our system that, the sort of where do we go from here, and, where do we move forward? Atari is one of just the oldest names when you go back in gaming. I mean, dude, I got fond memories. I mean, one of the first things my dad ever set me down in front of, was an Atari. Some of my earliest gaming memories. And yeah, it's always going to have that place, but yeah, I think not everything comes down to the nostalgia field trip. As you said, the face of gaming it's come a long way since then, man. I mean, there's different.
I mean, from the Atari days, it's almost indescribable. I mean, it would take too long to tell that evolutionary tale.
It would. So, not one I'm attracted to either. Again, I look at like specs and stuff like that, and I'm like, I'm thinking PS5/Xbox, and then my PC rig. I'm good, man. So I am willing to move right past that. All right. Well, move right past that and then into another pool here. Here we go. EA.
Mm-hmm.
EA's press conference. Yes, there are some highlights. Look, let's start with a high note. Start with one of the high notes. Jedi Fallen Order. We got gameplay on this and a whole slew of other info. I think you summarized this dead on. You were saying this is Star Wars Ratchet and Clank.
It is. Yeah. It's Star Wars. I'm watching the alpha gameplay that they show, and gosh, this feels familiar.
Yep.
All kinds of different abilities, and he's got a little robot on his back, and little robots hacking into things while you're doing other things. Like, this is Ratchet and Clank. It took me a couple of minutes. This is, and it really, except for instead of all the different gadgets, you have force abilities.
Right.
But it is, and that's not a bad thing. I'm a huge Ratchet and Clank fan, so that makes me like it even more. I like to feel, obviously, it looks very polished, and in fact, it's almost the appearance is almost too reminiscent of Battlefield 2, the single player. I definitely got that feel of it a little bit. It looks fine. It looks like a lot of fun. EA is definitely on the shit list for me right now. I've not been a big fan. I jumped off the Anthem bandwagon a year ago. And it's because you and I were both going to get that game.
Yeah.
And that was going to be a huge thing. And then Battlefield 2 came out. I'm like, nope. And everyone, there's a lot of people who's got a lot of reasons to be upset with EA right now. But this actually, this looks good. And it's a single-player campaign only, which is something that not even too long ago they said they just were not going to make any more games of.
Right.
Single-player game. I'm conflicted on this because I don't want to support EA. I don't. But what to what end does that go to?
Right.
If I don't buy an EA game, does that matter?
Mm-hmm.
No, it doesn't matter. Me not buying an EA game is going to be like, oh God, Chris, stop buying. We gotta fix it. It's not a multiplayer game. It's not an online game. There are no microtransactions. None of that stuff's going to exist. I feel buying this game is okay. And in fact, what I'm doing is I'm showing EA the importance of making single-player games by buying one that they've made.
Right.
but I really don't want to give them money.
I know.
I really don't want to.
Especially in larger context. I mean, what was it? Star Wars, Battlefront?
Battlefront 2?
Yeah, Battlefront 2. Yeah,
but it's a completely different game, though.
Yeah.
I mean, that at the heart is it's multiplayer online gaming.
Mm-hmm.
There was a single-player campaign, and it was okay. But this is all about the single-player campaign. That's what this game is. They've already said no online, no microtransactions. You're getting a single-player game, and that's it.
There you have it.
So, I mean, and am I justifying that a little bit? Yes.
Yeah, you are.
I am. But at the same time, I'm not David taking out Goliath. I'm not. And yeah, I feel a little dirty about it. And I will. I'll feel a little dirty about it. Maybe I won't get it right away. Maybe I'll wait until it goes down in price. Or maybe I'll wait and get it second hand. Then they get no monies. I don't know. I'm going to buy it. I think I'm going to end up playing it, though. It looks good. Looks solid. The gameplay looks like a lot of fun. You're not getting a lot of stuff from the story, but it's they're appropriately entrenching this in the Star Wars universe too. I forget that guy's name, but you see the one guy from Rogue One and the Clone Wars like right away. It's like, oh yeah, okay, you're helping out the rebellion. You're with what's his name? You know who I'm talking about?
I can see the face, but I don't have a name for you.
Yeah, I can't think of it right now either. As soon as we're done with this podcast, I'll remember. But yeah, it's compelling. It seems interesting. Yeah,
it's got the right stuff it needs on the board right now. It's hitting those good marks, and like you said, with the franchise you enjoy, with the something that's presented you with really solid story before, it does come to that point where you really kind of have to square the circle and say, all right. Am I willing to take my personal vendetta against that company, this far? Or would I actually play something that's? Well,
no, I have to interrupt you there because it's not so much a personal vendetta. I just don't like EA's practices as a company.
They're a lot of them are predatory.
And that's why I don't want to give them money because they suck. But that being said, it's looking like if I'm gonna give them money, this would be the kind of game to support and vote with my dollars on.
Right.
Here, EA, make stuff like this. And the only way that a company really hears those things is by giving them money. So, that's where I'm at with it. If I actually thought a boycott would work against EA,
sure, you go for it.
I'd be on top of that. Yeah. But I'm sorry, with FIFA and Madden alone, I am just one of many voices heard in an echo chamber.
Add some Apex Legends on top of that, and man,
yeah,
they're good.
Yeah. So, in the big mess of shit that is EA, maybe I can buy a good game and tell them, hey, I like this.
Fair enough. Well, not everything the EA conference, though, we didn't have as much news on it as we wanted. I know one of those, Dragon Age 4, that's a bit of a shocker, considering some of the attention that could have drawn from something else that we mentioned earlier, aka, Anthem. Dragon Age 4 was a little bit of a silent spectacle here. I know it's funny, too, because EA Play was one of the very first things up on the actual schedule, like the pre-E3 stuff, before all the rest of the conferences dropped. I mean, they were going through, the rest of sports titles and FIFA and stuff like that. But, yeah, no Dragon Age. Have you ever followed the Dragon Age series? I haven't.
No. That's all I got.
Oh, man. So, Dragon Age 4, I think we can effectively class as an open secret.
Yeah,
that's what I'm going to lovingly call it right now.
Just like BioWare abandoning Anthem's 10-year plan. That's an open secret.
Yeah. Oh boy, Anthem. Okay, now gotta highlight this. Look, I'm sure in a different universe, the plan would have been to have Anthem take a center stage at this E3 to show the next either expansion block or the next cool Cataclysm or the next Javelin suit and this whole ongoing thing. The pinnacle of live service. That's not what we get. Now, Bioware was there. Anthem was there, albeit a really, really, really small stage off to the side. It had no limelight presence. It was not a main like primetime feature in EA Play, anything like that.
Isn't that crazy, man?
It's nuts. It's nuts.
The game came out 4 months ago.
It's nuts. This Anthem should, by all intents and purposes, be one of the driving powerhouses for EA right now, and also taking every chance they can to show that new content, to show that new gameplay and stuff like that. But no, I mean, it was there with some gameplay. They had some of the community managers, and then they had like a small part where you could check out the new Cataclysm just come out with. Which I hate even talking about that because okay, I don't know if you remember when they first previewed Cataclysms. A number of E3s
that huge trailer.
Yeah, it looked awesome, right?
Yeah,
it looked sick. You know, the environment. You got cracked trees swirling everywhere, like some kind of like hurricane. You got wildlife running around. It's just like the whole area is in like a complete tumult, like total chaos. But you know, the one we get
now it just looks like a rainy day.
It's tame. It's tame in comparison to what we saw, and I think that's in large a lot of the outcry you see. You know, that which we were pitched is just not what we got.
Here in Wisconsin, we had cataclysm weather yesterday.
Cataclysm.
Yesterday, and I still went out about my business like it was nothing.
Oh man, it's gonna you know what? The worst part is later on it's gonna be removed. As part of content, you know, the stuff they have right here. It's like this sort of like huge time trial thing. The thing is, under normal circumstances, that'd be okay. Anthem's really suffering. I think that it could use the more consistent, constant content, and the fact that that's going to be driving a bit of a wedge between the player base. Those that were actually there to keep up with and do the Cataclysm are going to have access to gear and some unlockables and stuff that people who come after the point won't for a while, unless something changes with the model or they make Cataclysms regular. I don't know, but instead, I think something that was a linchpin in that whole plan, that overall plan for Anthem, I see it right now at least becoming a potential division point, and that's rough.
Doesn't matter.
It's rough.
It doesn't matter if there's a division point. It's not like the community can talk to each other anyways.
Zing.
Doesn't matter. They don't care. They honestly don't. I say that with. Yeah, I can be crass about stuff. Sometimes they don't care. They just don't care. They got what they needed, which was they got enough return back for the game. They don't care anymore. They got a low level dev or two, couple interns. That's your crack 10-year content team.
Golly.
Yeah. it's nuts, man. That game was in development for 6 years? They said.
Yeah.
Came out 4 months ago, February, right?
Yep.
4 months ago. It's the dirty little bitch in the corner.
You were meant to be the chosen one, Anthony.
You. Oh, if I had a little bit more time, I could do a whole thing with that, with the chosen one. And
yeah, you know where I'm going.
And...
yeah. Supposed to bring balance to third person, not destroy it. I love it.
You know, not lead us into darkness.
Alas, rip. Alrighty, moving on to the Microsoft conferences we had here, and the highlights that we have from there's a lot.
There is one of my favorite newses. One of my favorite news pieces from this week is actually in here, which is kind of amazing. Just because I'm not an Xbox guy, I never have been.
Same. But here we go. Look, right at the top of our list, we got Cyberpunk 27, and none other than. Well, I said 27. Seriously, 2077, with none other than Keanu Reeves showing up in this. And bear in mind, this is not going to be an Xbox exclusive. We did get a release window.
You're going to hear that a lot, by the way,
yeah.
while we're in the Microsoft conference.
Oh, yeah, we're going to say that a ton. We're going to say that a whole lot. We're looking at April 16th, 2020. If you guys were watching live on Twitch or whatever, the fans went nuts when Keanu Reeves.
I did not see it live. I did catch this though.
It was fun.
It was like the one legitimate moment of the week where people, yes, you can actually go nuts for this because it was a genuine cool surprise.
It was. No, it was. Keanu Reeves went on stage to just talk a little bit about the world itself, a little bit about what players can expect, and then kind of direct everybody to a trailer. But there were some fun moments here. Besides everybody going nuts, there was this part where Keanu made a comment about like breathtaking visuals, and then someone yelled like from front row, "You're breathtaking!" And then
he said, "You're breathtaking."
Yeah, everybody cracked up, and then he shot that back. Apparently there was a follow up. That guy who did that's apparently getting a free collector's edition for Cyberpunk 2077.
Really? That's dumb.
Yeah, they found.
I mean, fine, whatever, but don't support that kind of shit. Next thing you know, people are going to start jumping up on screen,
right?
Or on the whatever the hell they're standing.
Yeah,
the stage.
Yeah,
stage is the word. Whatever. Sure, it's cool.
Yeah.
I didn't look at Cyberpunk 2077 when they announced it last year. Mm-hmm. I have not looked at it too much. I have taken some time to look at it now, though. Not because of Keanu Reeves, but because I knew the game wasn't going to come out for forever, and I've only got so much time, people.
Right.
So
that's the problem.
So I knew I had this year to look at it. Yeah, it's fine. I'm not feeling it. I'm not. Yeah. It's a first person RPG. It could be fine. I could end up feeling it. I'm just not yet, though.
Right.
I don't quite know what it is. Keanu Reeves doesn't do anything for me one way or the other. Not until he makes Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure 3. All right, then you're out of the doghouse. Yeah, it looks pretty. It looks like a perfectly acceptable game. I don't know what else to say about it. Really, I'm not looking to get into RPGs anymore.
That's fair. For an FPS.
Let me just comment on this real quick. By April 2020, I'm already going to have my hands full with another RPG. So there's that too. Okay.
No, man. I was just going to comment that the scale of this it's pretty phenomenal from what I'm seeing so far. I mean, if there's one thing I've liked about the reveals for Cyberpunk, that it's really been building upon itself pretty well from the stuff we've seen in a consistent direction. Each big info dump we get about it, we're getting a lot of good stuff about it. So those of you who've been looking for your dystopian cyber shooter FPS, this is shaping up pretty darn good. Keep an eye on it. It was definitely a primetime attraction here. It looked great from what we saw visual wise. Some of the story stuff looked really cool. And I dig it. A lot of what it's hitting at, it really reminds me of like pseudo Ghost in the Shell vibes. About where society's at, and like how modding yourself, like how common that is, like the divide, how radical that's gotten between the classes and stuff like that. It's pretty cool. So
I'm definitely going to give it another look.
Sure.
But so far I'm kind of meh.
Same.
I think it's because when it comes to these games with a ridiculous amount of hype around them, example, Anthem.
Yeah.
Hey, they don't turn out so great.
Caution is warranted.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think I do want to highlight this though. I don't think even the minor controversies we started to hear around it. I know there've been some comments about the art direction and stuff like that, about some things seeming pseudo transphobic or stuff like that. I don't think that's going to be the main thing in the bank for this.
And they just need to chill out about that. That's how punks actually looked like when punks were a thing. I was there. They freaked me out because I'm just a little guy then. I'm like 2 feet tall. Like what? Why is that guy got a bald head except for the hair sticking up in the middle? And why has he got all that metal in his face? And And in some cases, and I don't care because this is the honest to God truth, there were plenty of people, even almost 30, 40 years ago, was like, is that a boy or a girl?
Yeah.
Sometimes you can't tell.
Hey.
And it's, but that is the culture.
Yeah.
They're not pushing anything in one. At least as far as I could tell, they're not. The art direction here is not pushing things in an inappropriate way in any kind of direction with any kind of propaganda.
No.
This is genuinely like what punks look like.
Yeah.
And hey guys, even before the digital era, there was the analog era. There's all kinds of video and pictures that will show this too. This is a big fat greasy nothing burger.
Yeah.
Nothing here.
There's fillers and additives, but oh well. Besides that, also on our slate here, honestly, we got some upgrades too for those of you who have Xbox Ones, Xbones. We got the Elite Wireless Controller 2.
Is that a big deal?
Okay, people make a big deal about gamepads, controllers, and stuff like that.
And controllers can definitely be a big deal.
Oh, they can.
There's consoles I can't play because their controllers were just so inappropriate for lefties.
Oh, dude, for sure. And as somebody, myself, as you as well, both of us play fighting games via gamepad. We've always been, D-pad people instead of like arcade sticks and stuff like that. The controller itself is it's a big deal to me because I'm like, well, if I'm going to be playing, Killer Instinct in this, right? If I'm going to be playing like Tekken 7 here, how does that feel? So yeah, people take that pretty serial, and I think now with a lot of the PC releases, having controller options, even MMOs like FF14 and stuff like that, yeah, people want a good stable, USB controller.
That is a realm that could actually be very dangerous for me because back in the PS1, PS2 eras, I used to buy all kinds of crazy third-party controllers and peripherals and all that stuff.
You had your Mad Cats.
Dude, I loved, to this day, and we'll see if I can use it next year, my Mad Catz one-handed controller.
There you go.
That we use, and my friends and I, we all loved that for Final Fantasy VII. You could legitimately play with it like that. You didn't need, it was so great.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that could be a dangerous error for me going into the PC though. So we'll see. It's a good thing that I don't like playing first-person shooters with a controller because otherwise I'd probably already be there. So
all over it. Cool. But hey,
I think the big. I'm sorry, I don't mean to.
No,
real quick though. I think the big thing about this, if I remember correctly, is the fact that it's going to be using. In fact, there's no choice in it. It has a rechargeable battery.
Yeah.
Which has been an Xbox kind of thing where they've been able to replace the batteries. But there is no choice on this one.
Right.
Yeah. All right.
It's like
didn't even know it was a thing.
Yeah. No. A lot of them have. I know. There's a while where actually some time I used an Xbox pad for PC, and a lot of those don't even have a battery pack. They're just the default pad, what they are. I never had a problem with them. I really think Microsoft has paid a lot of attention to these over the years because each iteration the analog sticks get a little more comfortable. The D-pad itself isn't as rigid. In fact, I'd go as far as to say the Xbox controller is one of the things that actually got me more comfortable with using analog sticks, period. Of course, being a PlayStation guy, that's just a common thing. They've always been in that place. But if I could use a D-pad, that's what I would use. The left stick, I would default off that if possible. So, say what you will. I think they've kind of locked things down, and they're starting to get a good direction with it. So, all right. That wasn't the only tech-related thing for Xbox. The big thing on the list is what we're starting to look at now. That's next-gen consoles. We had a discussion here about the Xbox Project Scarlet. We got specs, a release time frame, and an idea of what's going to be some of the stuff to kick the launch off, to kick that next console off. And I think this is just appropriate. I got to admit, I did kind of smirk that Halo leads off the charge for Xbox again. That makes sense. Makes sense to me. The last Halo game that I played was Halo 4, so I have no idea what's happening with Chief and everything that's going on here. But lore-wise, there's a part of me I actually do want to go through 5 or whatever got released chronologically for Halo. I'm actually curious what happened. So
I'm going to hold off my comments on that until we get to another piece later on here in the Microsoft conference.
Fair enough.
But the Project Scarlet, however,
yeah.
I mean, look, this what was the comment you said earlier? Open secrets.
Yep.
This is also a huge open secret.
yeah.
Okay, so what is it? 120 frames, 8K.
8K. I was just like,
resolution.
What?
The most impressive thing for me that I've seen so far is the ray tracing.
Yeah.
For a 3D modeling nerd like myself, it's like, I mean, I wouldn't have even fathomed that when I was in college.
Right.
I mean, the existence of it was being tinkered with, but to actually see it, I mean, in live gaming,
that's crazy.
It's nuts. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna be there. This time next year, we're gonna be drooling over it.
Yep.
Now, did I hear that this thing's gonna be called the Xbox 2? Right now, Scarlet's the project name. Just like
right.
What was the Scorpio was the Xbox One X?
Right. Did
I hear? Did you hear that this week as well? It's going to be called the Xbox 2.
I heard some rumbles about it.
Yeah, I mean, we don't know for sure.
Well, we don't have confirmation, but
yeah. Okay, so I know one piece of the puzzle. Okay,
right.
Now I need the other piece, which is the PlayStation, and then I can start comparing and contrasting.
Here we go.
But quite honestly, there's something else we're going to talk about here in a couple steps that I think this is already done for me. We'll talk about it when we get to it.
Fair enough.
But so. I mean, yeah, sure. It looks pretty and all that stuff, and the blurb they had was nice, and people were on there. It's like the loading times, because
it's going to have a solid state drive, right?
I mean, you're going to be able to connect it right to your brain. So no more loading times.
Oh man. So
yeah.
One of the rumor mill about this is that we may have a split with this when it is released, and then a higher.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Don't do that.
Could be. I hope not. But this idea of the higher end system called the Anaconda and a lower end one named Lockhart.
Nope, that's stupid.
Yep. Don't do it.
Don't do it, because what you're gonna do is, if you got it, you can't, because as it is, you got to remember the casual gamer and the casual person who's going to come in and be like, well, okay, so there's all these different versions, even if there's just two versions. There's different versions of the Xbox, but there's just the PlayStation 5.
Yep.
And the guys, I can't be opening all kinds of jars. I'm just going to go with I'm just going to go with the PlayStation. They're making it simple. Just like 6 years ago, so it was 6-7 years ago, when they mocked Microsoft so badly. Here's how you can share games on the PlayStation, and he handed them the game.
That was fantastic.
Don't put them in a position where they can do that again. And no, it's not exactly the same thing, but it's pretty close. Don't do it. Don't do it. The hard drive stuff enough is, the different hard drive sizes is bad enough.
Yeah.
Don't even do that. That's why they. Not that it matters, and I'll get to that in a moment. So, okay, that's when I feel that. Sure. Yeah, I have, like I said, I have one side of the coin. I need the other side, and then we can start talking about it.
Get into the price differences, all that kind of stuff. So.
Right.
Lots to see here still for us. The other side of the coin being PlayStation. We'll go from there. With the rest of the stuff we have at the other conferences, such as Namco Bandai and From Software eyeing something here. Now, this was interesting because of the name that was attached with this. Those of you who keep up with your big Game of Thrones fans or the rest of stuff you like. Sequential series you follow from him, George R. Martin and From Software teaming up to do Elden Ring. that got announced. That's not going to be an Xbox exclusive, but wow.
No. There it is.
Yeah, it's just look, hardly any info on this at all. We got the brief trailer. From Software is to dystopia as peanut butter is to jelly, I guess. You know, I mean, you're always gonna. I think them doing broken futurescapes or broken medieval scapes. That's their thing. You know, especially for Demon Souls and Dark Souls. And, yeah, list goes on.
Be it medieval or futuristic dystopias with giant robots.
You name it.
Somebody just needs to take a box of kittens over to From Software.
They do.
And just drop it off there.
They do.
But keep an eye on those kittens. Maybe take it back after a week. When I heard about this earlier this week and I hadn't seen the trailer, I'm like, oh, that sounds really interesting. Yeah, I've wanted to get into the Dark Souls games and all that stuff. I've wanted to, but
sure,
I've heard they're very difficult.
Oh yeah,
and it's not so much the difficulty that bothers me, is that I've heard they're a big investment.
Mm-hmm.
There's a lot here. Again with the jars, I can't be doing all that with these games. They've seemed great. George R.R. Martin, that's interesting. That's very interesting, and I think there's a lot of potential there to take From Software to the next level, back to the level that they used to be, where they made launch games and frontier games that mattered.
Absolutely.
And again, if there's any Armored Core fans, you're not getting Armored Core 6.
Nope.
You're never gonna get it. It's not gonna happen. We were big fans. We had a podcast for Armored Core. You're not getting it. It's gone. It's done. Go get yourself a Switch. Go play Demon X Machina.
That's there for you.
From Software does not care. You got to remember that they got bought out. What was it, 4 or 5 years ago?
I want to say 4 now by Katakawa. Yep.
Yep. It's not the same company. They do not care. Have you? And in those 4 years, have you seen Armored Core anything besides anniversary CD releases?
Nope.
Yeah, they do not care. That's huge for them. Again, not an exclusive, but here it is in the Microsoft stage. Oh. I love this. They've been doing this kind of for a few years now, where they're like, "Hey, check out this game."
Yeah.
And this isn't your game.
This is. Oh man. Speaking of which, another one too that is non-exclusive. Lego Star Wars Saga. We got a trailer for that too. The Lego Star Wars series is always something I've kind of smiled at. I've never played any of them though.
My brother has with his kids years ago when they were younger, my niece and nephew. Mm-hmm. I've not played them either. They look like a lot of fun, but it's just on the list of games and things to do, it's too far down on the bottom. I never get to them.
Right. So now we did have a little something here, part of the conference that
here we go.
Highlighted this. This is cool. The Xbox Game Pass it's in beta for PC. So now that carries a whole lot of ramifications with it.
I do not understand why Microsoft continues to give me reasons to never buy an Xbox. And here it is. This could literally be the nail in the coffin for their consoles. Now that goes into a whole larger thing, and that may be a conversation we have another day. But I have said for years now, ever since they've announced it, why would I buy an Xbox when everything that I ever want to play on the Xbox, I can play on my computer?
Yep. It'll look better.
And now literally everything that's ever been on an Xbox.
Yep.
This is, I mean, look, the Xbox Pass or the Xbox Game Pass is a huge deal. I think we talked about this some time ago. I mean, there's ramifications about the future of even a Microsoft console here. There's ramifications as far as the popularity of gaming and where it moves in the future, consoles and as a whole, and how games are even going to be presented to us.
Right.
It might all start right here. But this is, what is it, $14.99?
Yeah.
It's a good deal.
It's kicking.
I mean, you get the launch games. What's interesting is that would you get Halo Infinity, or is it Halo Infinite? One or the other. Infinite. Would you get that with that? Because that's one of the things that they tout is that you get, not only do you get the launch games and the exclusive games with the Game Pass, but you also sometimes get them early.
Right.
But would they do that? Dare they do that with the next Xbox console's launch game? But I mean, the potential here is massive.
It is,
and it's beautiful, but it's also very dangerous.
Yeah.
But I mean, in all seriousness, why buy it? And I generally mean that for anyone who listens to this and actually gets to this point. Thank you very much. Why buy an Xbox if this goes to PC?
Mm-hmm.
And furthermore, at some point, if it continues, Game Pass has been doing very well. Does Microsoft at some point say, why continue to make an Xbox?
Just fully jump in PC. I don't know. I mean,
yeah,
it's a larger question.
Right.
There's a time where I would have said, no, that can never happen, because you got stuff like LAN play and things like that people love, or being able to do system link. Come on, I'm sure you gamed at some point a system link of Halo 2 or Halo 3. You guys remember that? Maybe even you did stuff for multiplayer Halo 1. That stuff was super fun. Go back even further, GoldenEye. Doing
they buried LAN play a few years ago.
They did. The thing is, the axe is in that. We've got so much stuff going cross-platform now. I mean, Sony's even had to make some concessions and cave on that to a few things that they weren't intending to make cross-platform, but that they just had to because of the crowd. It's crazy for it. Especially some of the stuff we've seen coming out of Epic Games. So, man, it's a larger question for what exactly we're shooting at here. I think there's only so long you can compete with the console based off of the merits of the power of it alone graphically. That was always the idea of power doubling, was always something cool in the minds of gamers, coming up in the 90s and beforehand. But we're reaching such a saturation point with that.
Mm-hmm.
There's more to owning a console than just graphics. Because today you just say, "Oh shoot, I'll just get my PC, just beat both of you."
It's exclusives.
Yeah, exactly. It is, and I don't see how they get out of this formula. I think it always will be those exclusive games that sell a console and that tell you, you get this is what you'll be getting. So there you have it.
So we'll see. Interesting times.
They are. I love it. Over at Bethesda, we had an apology, and also an attempt to make something else, help salvage some of the stuff that's happened with Fallout 76. This actually did have a stage presence to it. It was there.
He was locked up in a cage.
You know what? To be fair, this had a much better presence than Anthem, at least. I mean,
I'm sure the smelly kid had a better presence than Anthem did.
Some of the new announcements that came with this, there's a battle royale mode revealed, and part of me says, why am I not surprised that the flavor of the day is battle royale today? I mean,
it is, but I actually think that's going to end up changing.
I think it will. I think it's a fad that's not going to last, and I don't think it will.
Guess what, kids? Battle royale was around 20 years ago. We played it a lot then too.
Yep. Let it get out of their system for a bit. No, everybody get out collectively. I think it's just real quick. I think it's just because it's got such a different approach today. Today you have it with the level up, with the building component. The RPG elements, the massively elements to it. You look at stuff like Fortnite and Apex Legends are prime examples, especially the stuff you do in Fortnite. There's something eclectic that people love about the rat race, super fast paced, building, and then you have the aspects of a shooter, still having, really sharp aim and stuff like that, and, making an environment. Then you have the Minecraft-ish elements. They've kind of meshed all that now and made this hot pot battle royale. So, but yeah, I mean, like you said, nothing's old is new. This is something that we saw before in a simpler form, and I think the fever will pass a bit. We'll see. That's just
it. I do think it's hilarious that these companies are trying to attach battle royale to everything now. To
everybody's doing it.
Yeah, these huge IPs when they don't get it, they're playing these free, simple. No, I don't want to say simple. Let's say simplistic. These free, simplistic battle royale games because they don't want to play your shit right now. So you attaching battle royale to your shit, it's not helping much. This is a very kind and quiet rebellion to a lot of what's wrong in gaming. And yes, battle royale's part of what's wrong too. But people, they just like all the complicated stuff and all this microtransactions and seasons and blah blah blah. And that's not to say that these things don't exist in this as well, but they can just pick up their guy and go kill people. It's like, let me load up, let me go kill some guys. They don't want to do this in Fallout. They don't want to do this in Battlefield. Whatever.
Other than that, they did shine a light on some new quests, brand new gear, all that stuff that's going to be coming out. People can unlock and get. Fallout, especially its crafting system and the stuff you can, put together and what you can do with your armor and weapons and stuff like that. One of the cool things in 76 is always being cognizant of the, irradiated areas and literally what the fallout means to step into those, types of areas. And if somewhere gets nuked, being aware of that. Just the fact that you can launch nukes is just such a goofy thing. But, oh man. But
all I know about Fallout 76 is that universally it was panned. If they can actually salvage this thing, I think that's something that the company could have for some merit.
I agree, and yeah. I think that also would show some real goodwill on the part of players for willing to stick with it through thick and thin. I think that they've earned some goodwill with the previous Fallout games because it's always had a really solid following behind it. And I will say this: for as much was botched with the crazy collector's edition and the bag issues and all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that thing. That was great, right?
People took their bags and they put Fallout 76 in it and then they threw them away.
I personally just I could be wrong, but just from a cursory look, I'm not seeing the same level of abandonment here that I've seen in stuff like Anthem, things like that. So I think they've at least got people's attention enough to keep working with this and keep developing. So
okay, let's move on to the next one.
Doom Eternal. Release date announced November 22nd. This looks amazing.
Woo!
Is
day
there
before my birthday, Ian?
Perfect. Is there
the day before my birthday? I don't want a gift card.
You want Doom?
That's right.
There's few shooters more immortal than this, man. The Doom reboot was great. A lot of fun with this. This is looking absolutely
the Doom.
metal.
Everything is great. No, the Doom RPG game actually not so great, but almost everything else.
Almost everything else. I know. Look, I know this was a big part of the conference for you. What's the thing? What's the thing you were hyped most about seeing? Just it.
More the release date. I maybe once a week ever since last E3. Doom Eternal release date on my computer or on my phone. Yeah. November, perfect. I figured it was going to be fall, and it technically it's fall. But.
Remind me, is there any what's this? I thought there was some kind of. Is there a special edition for this?
I'm sure there is.
Okay.
I don't know.
What are you going to get?
I will link you what I want from.
Okay.
I haven't had a chance to look at them all yet. I spent most of my time this week, besides just consuming E3, focusing on the next topic. But this it looks good. It looks great. Thank you, Bethesda, for bringing back Doom. Thank you very much. Okay.
I gotta see this.
I'm gonna go change my pants now.
No, but no, I do want to see the version of it you're actually after. Looks.
Oh, what do you mean, the platform?
No. I mean, I don't have the special edition specs and stuff near. Or if you're getting like
yeah,
a
no, I
deluxe
don't
or...
either. I'm sure there's like 10,000 of
Okay.
them.
Okay.
I mean, quite honestly, considering the topic before Doom, do you really think I would invest too much into the special editions out of a Bethesda game?
Right.
I don't need any crap. I'd try to order some special edition. It comes with a Doom helmet. It's like made out of cardboard. It's like they just like drew it on a piece of paper. Here you go. Nah, I don't get all that stuff. So it all depends. I deal with special editions by each one at its own merit. I don't just like I gotta get the no. I will look at each one, and if it's a good deal, I will get it.
There you go.
So it all depends.
Cool. Also, right next to, and by the way, can I just say I loved an E3 with having both be side by side. Right next to Doom, Wolfenstein.
It feels right.
It does. It absolutely does. It does. I just wanted to stamp just a big old id on my forehead. Wolfenstein Youngblood, we got the release date for that. It's going to be July 26th.
We are going to blow some shit up.
Coming right up. This, look, for a co-op, looks like a blast.
Best trailer of the event for me. It's just so much fun.
The setting, those of you who played early Wolfenstein, or you're kind of looking for where this is, what's up with it, it's set in the 1980s, about 2 decades after Wolfenstein New Colossus. But looking sharp. I know some people are wondering, oh man, female protagonist. Whoa, yeah. It's, again, I'm kind of, whatever, cool.
Yeah, fine.
Yeah. That's a total non-issue for me. Gameplay wise,
were people saying something about that?
Yeah, believe it or not.
I mean, sometimes the best thing about playing a game is like checking out the hot chicks in the game. That's horrible of me. And I know that's like not quite what I meant, or what people meant. No, I'm joking. Who cares? You know what? It doesn't really matter. And as far as the plot point goes, it makes complete frickin' sense.
Yeah.
What is your problem? What is your problem? Get out of here. Just go. I'm going to be over here playing Wolfenstein Youngblood and watching Captain Marvel. And you just go, I don't know, go play Minecraft, I guess. Because everything else is offending you because they're actually, trying to be more inclusive. I don't know. I'd go outside and play with rocks and dirt.
Right. Something.
Yeah.
Treehouse.
But because everything else offends you, so there's still rocks and dirt.
Of note, real quick, of note, we did not have anything on Elder Scrolls 4 or Starfield. Now, there was something, of course, now they came out a bit before you. Bethesda was saying, look, don't expect anything.
Yeah, they learned from Blizzard.
Yeah, they did. Some people didn't believe, but now they meant it. There's nothing.
There was nothing. Yeah, I guess that's. I mean, I'm not a big follower either one, but they're like, no, don't expect it. And like, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
You're saying not to expect it, which means I should. No
reverse psychology. Oh, no, prepping you up. So, but no, good stuff. Fun. Kind of, I think that led us right into the stuff we saw with the PC Gaming Conference. Standouts being Baldur's Gate 3 and Shenmue 3.
Okay, so I want to talk about these real quick.
Yeah.
Baldur's Gate 3, didn't even know it was a thing until I actually started researching notes for the show. Went and watched that trailer. What I say to you? 2 things. That looks awesome. Second thing, that was gross.
That was gross. Yeah.
That was huge Baldur's Gate fan. I mean, obviously, if you're a big enough nerd, you understand he turned into a mind flayer, and that's what really matters about that. It's just a teaser. It's just a teaser trailer. It's not supposed to be a big deal. You can't really draw much out of what's going on there, especially a game like Baldur's Gate, which is just massive in scope of what it is, which is whatever you want it to be. There's a story in there somewhere, but you pretty much don't even have to follow it. That's awesome. We'll see it when we see it. What's Shenmue? Shinmu. I'm not a fan. Don't really care. Definitely not a fan now. I learned what went into making this game happen.
Yep, a lot.
And then the way they screwed them. That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
That's like, I think that's pretty much the worst thing that happened at E3 this year. I mean, what the hell's wrong with you? Screwing these people like this.
Especially because you had the people that were backing it, like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
For those
not offering refunds either.
Yeah. Touching a bit on that, by the way, for those of you who didn't know, Shenmue 3, basically the whole thing behind this is that the backers who helped push this to help get this thing alive, bring it to life, are basically getting ripped off by the Epic Game Store. So no refunds, all that good stuff.
But they specifically said this was going to come out on Steam. I guess that was part of the whole thing, is that this was supposed to come out on Steam, but then they just flipped it. Nope, Epic. And if you already paid money, too bad.
That's brutal.
And this is... You'll hang out in the corner with EA.
Yeah.
What you did.
That's terrible.
It is. I hope this flops.
Yeah.
I hope it just does really bad and flops. And you get a grassroots player-based campaign that brings your project to life, and jeez. I hope you flop.
Yeah.
I really do. I hope I hope the actions reap the rewards you deserve.
They should.
Go hang out with the guys out playing with the rocks in the dirt.
So no, that I was kind of heartbroken to hear that. I remember this whole thing was getting raised off the ground and then come to this point. So we'll see what launch prospects do, and about it, man. There was a little bit of tech news here on the PC side. Those of you who do PC builds or even graphics cards and stuff, look, it's no secret, GeForce has been on fire. They've done so well, I think, with the 1080 line and the others. I love my 1080 Ti. You've got so many others like the Titan graphics cards and everything like that. Look, it's come to a point where AMD really, really needed a response for this, and I think that they started to get gears rolling with this E3 with that. We did get a lot on the new line of AMD. Radeon cards are going to be coming out. This is their 5700 XT series for the 50th anniversary. I'm not going to go too far into specs, but just do know that they do have a 1.9 gigahertz clock and 8 gigs of DDR6 RAM. The base model for this one is going to run you about $500, and of course they have like anniversary editions and normal editions and stuff like that. So do your comparisons if you're about to build a rig or something like that, or you're looking to crossfire cards or something like that, or run a dual rig or whatever. Take your time, look through this stuff, and just know that AMD, they've got some stuff out on the horizon now, so you know. And I think what blew me away too, just spec wise, is the amount of cores. We're at 16 core processors at this point, so rocking right along, man. For me though, I'm not replacing my graphics card anytime soon. I'm good.
I am though.
But you're in the market, huh?
Yeah, I'll be up. Yeah, I'm going to upgrade. Like my computer's name is Megatron. I'm going to be upgrading him. So minor upgrades, not complete upgrade, but graphics card and probably motherboard with it, and then those parts will be going into an older computer I have.
Fair enough.
So yeah, I'm going to be actually. This is homework for me soon.
Cool.
So
getting you started then.
Yeah. Now I'm glad to see it's up there, because even then when I got this thing, when I had this thing built 2 years ago, this was some top of the line stuff. But
right.
I've found a chink in the armor, so I'm gonna fix that. Yeah.
All right. Now, here's a conference everybody was looking for. All eyes were in this one because we knew there had to be news and something that's been 4 freaking years out, and we've had nothing.
Nothing good.
Nothing good. The Square Enix, literally, you can say nothing at all, man. I mean, well,
didn't you go to the thing in Vegas and get a picture?
No. That was for FF14.
Oh, okay.
We had that the art. That's it. That's literally it that I can think of. FF7 Remake, people. The Square Enix conference. This was the highlight, and they led off with this. There's nothing else before it. They decided just to kick off, and here it is. This announcement
is. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I was just gonna say it's real and it's tangible.
It exists.
You have a release date.
It exists. I actually had a couple friends of mine who started to worry. Is like, is this even gonna happen? You know, is this even a thing? But no, it is. It is. It's coming out next year. It's they've already got pre-orders and stuff like that available for it.
Oh yeah.
There's going to be 3 editions. There's the normal that'll run you $60. There's the deluxe edition that you get a couple of extras with. By the way, something I'm a little worried about already. The DLC. You get the It's 2 summons that come with it if you get the
that's right,
deluxe edition.
I saw that.
Yeah, the Cactuar and Chocobo, and then you get like the physical version. You get like the art book, the Heartsteel case, soundtrack, stuff like that. If you get the digital version, they got a whole theme for the PS4.
Yeah, that's becoming like a standard.
It is for stuff that you got ahead of time. Then there's the Big Daddy. There's the deluxe edition, which is
Tifa will actually drop it off at your door.
It would sell out like that, man. Oh man, this one is gonna run you $330.
Oh my god.
Yeah, crazy, right?
Is Tifa really bringing it to a door? Good god. That's. I didn't look at that one. I looked at the other 2. You know, you had your basic, and then you had, I saw I forgot about the summons, but
yeah, the basic one is basic 60, deluxe 80. That one $330. Now with this one, the crazy edition, it's everything that I just mentioned in the deluxe, but you also get the Carbuncle summon. Here's what's running up the price so much. It's the Hardy Daytona like statue, and like the Play Arts Kai cloud figure. Those cost a lot alone, like on the Square Enix store, like just those.
Oh, that's right. You're a statue guy.
So yeah, those cost a bunch. And
are you getting that one?
No. And I'll actually tell you why. I'll tell you why I'm not. Because I already had a different display in mind.
Okay.
I always said if I was to get the one of the bike statues from 7 that I really liked, it was the Fenrir from Advent Children.
Mm-hmm.
So if I do it, it would be that one. I wouldn't get it. This would be doubling up too much for me. So maybe if I was just over the hill fanboy about Hardy Daytona and stuff, but no, even for me, dude, I'm like, I'm good.
Okay, so I'll be getting the basic edition. I always said I will buy the first part.
You did.
I will buy it. I do not like the fighting system in this.
Right.
I'd also always said I would like turn-based, old school. You and I were having a little bit of discussion about that before the show. Mm-hmm. They could have done both. I think that would have been the way to go, is if they would have given the player the option to go turn-based or not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I get it. They want to be all dynamic with the fights, and you watch the fight with the guard spider thing, and Barrett's talking shit, and Cloud's barking stuff out. And
yeah,
I don't need that. I don't need that. And when you make a move, they could switch the camera and all. That's fine, whatever. All right. I figured. I mean, in my heart of hearts, I knew it wasn't going to be turn-based.
Oh, right.
I mean, I might get a collector's edition had it been, and be like, okay, I can get into this. Right now, I was like, I will play this, and I'm,
Sure.
So March 20th.
Yeah.
Isn't it March 20th next year? But Ian, it's only part 1, episode 1.
Yeah. Here it is. All right. So, I gotta lay this out. FF7 is still to this day my favorite game of all time. It's always had a special part as far as gaming where I see things. It's not just because when it came out it was a game changer. I was playing FF well before 7, but I picked up a PS1 shortly before 7 came out. So this was one of my early games for it, and just seeing where this brought the series, it was great. The concern here, though, and I think this is something important. I think you have to take any fan glasses you have to have on about this. This is something I've wanted to see for years. For me, this is almost like a gaming singularity moment. I'm hyped out of my mind. But with this only being part 1, which was going to be on 2 Blu-rays, mind you, that's insane.
Yeah.
And not just part 1. This is part 1, part Midgar. The fact that Square themselves are saying, all right, Midgar has been fleshed out to the point now where this is essentially a full game. And we have that with no word on what's going to be the trajectory for this. How many more parts are we to expect? What's the rough release cycle for it? We don't know. We've officially stepped into unknown territory with this. And this is a dangerous double edge. On the one hand, 7 has a lot of goodwill that it's garnered fans coming into. I mean, if Final Fantasy 7 is an iconic name, both for JRPGs and as far as PS1 games, gaming history, period.
Can I just say, though, that's been a lot of tested goodwill?
Yeah.
But
yeah.
Yes, I agree completely. It's definitely a lot of goodwill.
No, there is. That you have plenty there on the table and going into it, but looking at that, some of the best games and sequential games we've had, I'm looking at like God of War, for example, the God of War newest launch that we had for that. Some of the best things you have a full scale and a full trajectory from them. You know exactly where they're going, and it was no secret at the end of God of War there's going to be another one. This isn't the last story from Kratos and stuff like that, and there wasn't a concern. But the remake team, which is mostly comprised of the original members who helped come up with 7 anyway, Tetsuya Nomura. I mean, I could go down the list. Katase, Uematsu's even returning and help like do the soundtrack and stuff like that. That disc 1, 2, and 3 structure you might be thinking about FF7, that's out the window at this point. We're already seeing stuff, not just in terms of combat and all that, but from the trailers that depart from FF7. So the order things happen, where things go down, and I think it's a very large possibility you'll still have the same large events, but how we get there, how things happen in between, that all of that is completely reimagined. And with the whole part 1 centering around just Midgar, I mean, Midgar takes up most of the continent that it's on. If you remember the world map in 7, it's a good chunk of the corner of that continent. But we never got to see the upper plate, for example. We didn't hang out up there long. You only got to see a few of the slums. You only got to see a few of the reactors. You got to see portions of Shinra Tower, Shinra Building, and all that. Being able to do all of that now and fully explore, I have no idea what they're going to be doing story-wise now, and potentially only having world map available, part 2 and beyond, whenever that is, that's a warning bell. That's an immediate warning bell. And I worry about that because it's a way to sort of, I think, obfuscate some responsibility of, well, where's this heading? To fans and people that really get into it and really want it, they invest in this part by part, is, much as I hate to see it, it could fall into Half-Life territory.
It could. Look, when you and I were talking about this earlier in the week, my comment basically was, if I was at school and I was working on a big project and I turned in part 1 and my teachers were like, "Where's the rest of it?" I'll do it someday. Just grade this part. No, I just failed. I just failed college. If I did the same thing at work, okay, so you got part 1 of this big project done. What about the rest of it? Well, you'll get it eventually. At some point, you'll get it. I just lost my job.
Yeah.
And I think, and you're right. There's a lot of goodwill here, but this is kind of unacceptable. Sorry, you should have given us, even Marvel, gives us dates for the next few years as far as when the different movies are coming out in different phases. They give us a plan.
Yeah.
They at least give us an outline. And yes, it changes, but at least there's a plan. And I really just feel like they're like, this is the furthest we could get.
Yeah.
That's not good enough. And yes, Midgard deserves it deserves to be fleshed out the way that they're talking about. It absolutely does, and that's one of the biggest things when you play that game. Is you walk away, gosh, I wish I could have spent more time in Midgard.
Yes, you do.
But this is not good enough. It's just not good enough. And them saying, well, this in itself is a full game, but it's not, because it's not the full story. It's like, but it's so big and it's going to be... Nope. I haven't even met Sid yet. So, but it... Yeah, and they're not... My biggest advice out of this, as we've talked about this over the last couple of years, is that they need to sell part 1 for like $20.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if they'd actually have a fleshed out plan, they probably could do that, and they should do that, because I do not think that goodwill has spanned across all the fans.
Right.
And I think there's a lot of people. In fact, I know there's people that have washed their hands of this. Mm-hmm. It's too different. It's taken too long. I just don't play games anymore. I just don't care.
Right.
Now you and I are from two different camps. You are a fan of Square Enix.
I am.
I am not. I have dropped off from Square Enix years ago.
Right.
I do not like where they've taken their RPGs,
mm-hmm.
and they're sprinkling a lot of that in this game. Now, the materia system could be the saving grace for me, and I said I'd buy part 1 regardless. And there's enough good grace there to where the remake deserves me to buy part 1 at least. It just does. The first game was so damn good
mm-hmm.
that I'll buy the first part. There's no guarantees after that. And to be quite honest, I think we're looking at one or two things. Either we're looking at the scenario that just kind of fleshed out, which is that they don't really know what they're going to do. They don't really have a timeline. I don't know if I quite buy that, though. Because I think the other part of the scenario is they're not totally sure how they're going to move forward, because they want to see how this does.
Yeah.
And they want to see what the next consoles can do. And they want to see where they take things for the... I mean, seriously, are they gonna drop episode 2 2 years later on the PlayStation 4? No.
That is the huge fear with this. With this hitting so late at this point in the generations where consoles were at PS4 and everything, with this potentially skipping over into PS5 and the rest of it, with this scale, okay, maybe the story's changed so much. There's just something I'm not seeing with Midgard, but knowing how much more of 7 there is, and just looking at what they've done so far, I would be blown away if we got remake in its entirety all on PS4. I'd be shocked.
No, there's no way.
There's
no way. Not at this point.
No.
Maybe if they were able to announce the whole schedule for the whole game.
Sure.
And their other episodes were coming out in the next year. After the initial release,
right?
Then I could see that,
right? But no, with as far as where things are at, it's so crazy, because gaming wise, it's a pretty amazing moment. I mean, from what we're seeing, this is one of the most ambitious full remakes I've seen. I mean, there's no just remaster about this. I mean, this is a ground up, complete rebuild. Anything pre-rendered that you remember before, those crazy like flaming backgrounds and stuff like that from blowing up the first reactor, being able to walk through those things and actually go through the streets of the slums and things like that, that's crazy. I think we were saying this earlier in the week too. I think the last time just a spectacle of this scale was like, and I remember the Real Money Auction House rolling out for Diablo 3. Occasionally in the industry, you just got these gargantuan ideas that roll out. You just look at it, you're like, can that work? Like, can this actually happen? Is this a thing? And that's really where I find myself with 7. I'm thrilled, but I'm kind of nervous about that release schedule. I will, of course, I'm going to do part 1. It's an absolute no-brainer for me. I'm gonna go with the deluxe edition, just because I like the idea of having the horror steel case, the art book, and stuff like that. Come on, man. I gotta put that next to my non-greatest hits 1997 edition FF7. I have to. Have to.
Oh, you're gonna end up spending $500+ on this whole game before it's all said and done.
At this rate. At this rate.
I'm gonna go with my basic bitch. $60, maybe even wait a little bit and get a cheaper version. Because one thing that we said was absolutely ridiculous. If this thing is 3 episodes, say it's 3 different episodes, no less than $60 a pop. Yep. That's almost $200.
Yes, it is.
That's a joke. That's a joke
for one game.
Yeah. Now, there's some danger here too. I mean, I get it, and I'm happy that they are expanding Midgar to the. Well, let me rephrase. I'm happy that they're expanding Midgar.
Yeah.
Stop. They could be doing that way too much.
It could be.
There's a danger that what they've already done with episode 1 is way too much.
Could be. It could be. And like you said, that sets a precedent. You know, you look at the level of detail just in like the boss battle with the guard scorpion alone and stuff like that. And, my mind instantly jumps to stuff like, you start taking on the Godzilla size stuff later when Diamond Weapon shows up, and the stuff late disc 2 with the Proud Claude and the mecha. And then we want to talk areas like Cosmo Canyon has to be ridiculous. The whole underground caverns to that, the Gina Talk stuff. Like you said, Sid, Rocket Town, Nibelheim's going to be ridiculous. Like Yuffie, right? It's just like, regardless of what you do with any of the systems, whatever they set with this first part is going to make the marker. That's going to put the line in the sand of this is the level we're aiming for with this entire thing. That, golly, man, what an undertaking.
They run the danger of burning out parts of their fan base with just part 1.
Right.
It could be like, man, really? and there's how many more? Oh, we don't know. We don't know how, but it took me this long and all this just to get through this first part. Yeah, all right. If I'm Square Enix, I'm saying to myself, God damn, we should have just made a remake for the PlayStation 3.
Going back to that tech demo all the way back, right? And I gotta admit that the whole spectacle is hilarious. It's something that everybody say it'll never happen. They'll never do it. They tease us all the time. You've got the re-release on PSN or Steam or whatever. They won't do it, and then they do it. They call everybody's bluff, and well, then we have what we have. This is going to be one of the most interesting things to watch as this unfolds over the years. I got my full attention on this. I'm actually pretty fascinated by it all.
It's definitely fascinating, but you missed. I had my mic muted right after you said. It'll be interesting to watch this roll out over the years, and I'm just like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah. That's what it's going to take.
It is going to take it. It's going to, oh.
Yeah.
I'm not close enough to make predictions at this point, but.
No.
Oh, man.
Unbelievable.
At this point, it's just like, it just won't die.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be freaking. I want to have an AERP card before I see the end of this freaking thing.
I think it would be here. I think it'd be pretty wild. Like, a lot of people have said that one of the best case scenario for 7 is if it's 2 parts max, and the next part either 'cause some people were speculating that part 1 ends with the death of Aerith, then you go on from there, which.
Well, that's because that's how disc 1 ended.
Exactly, but also I think. Just thematically with the game, that really felt like the halfway point.
Oh yeah, it really. Well, also because at the end of it, you're like, oh, I need to rest.
Yeah, right. It
very much was.
In the trajectory, everything sort of changed at that point. It was like that point in FF6 where you shift from the world of balance to the world of ruin. The things changed, the aim of the party, the stuff that happened with the rest of the world. That was the halfway segment. And there were a lot of little extra things you could do in Disc 2 before going through with the main scenario. But, hey, look, for all we know, it could be a deal. I'm actually kind of hoping it's just 2 parts. I know that sounds... I'm hoping it stops with 2. Because if you do Aerith's death, and then if things just sort of wrap up at a quicker pace than we might think... I mean, I'm actually thinking, the scale of stuff that happens between Aerith's death and Sephiroth at the North Crater... can be broken down into some pretty major events. It's basically Sephiroth getting the Black Materia, summoning the meteor, Shenron freaking out and trying to respond to it by all the different ways, the weapons getting released, and then the little mini crises you have around the world. Once the party puts 2 and 2 together and realizes, oh hey, holy, it's a thing. It's still coming. We need to help out. Hey, hey, it could wrap up in a quicker way than we think. I actually hope for 2 parts. Do I think that's going to happen? Maybe, probably not. I don't know.
Couple things.
Yeah.
Couple things. First of all, you're just so that we're clear on this. You're going to go with Aerith.
Wait, are we talking about the love triangle?
No, I'm talking about her name.
Oh, yeah, I'm going with Aerith.
Okay, all right. So just for clarification, I'm going to go with Ares.
Okay.
So, all right, we're talking about the same thing. All right. Interesting to know which camp you're in. All right. Second part. Second part. Whatever. Different translations in different spoken languages.
I feel you.
I'm going to make a prediction.
Okay.
Here we go. Prediction time. The game's going to be 4 parts. And let me tell you why. Because everything I've seen from Square Enix says we have to go bigger, if not just for the sake of just going fucking bigger.
Yeah.
It will be 4 parts. And it will all be out by the end of the cycle for PlayStation 5. So we're looking at 6-7 years.
Prediction noted.
Prediction, boom. There it is. I'm wrong about a lot of stuff, so we'll see how wrong I am.
I like it a lot. So
that's my prediction.
Yeah, I'm stoked. I'm stoked though. This was one of the main things I came to E3 looking for, and they even they had a what was it, like a couple of music events the night before. They had like some kind of like orchestra there. It was I think like an FF7 one specifically, and they dropped a short trailer there they expanded on in the actual conference and stuff. So they went full hog all into this. That's not to say 7 was the only thing at Square Conference. A couple other things here. Surprised the heck out of everybody as soon as they heard that first note of Ethos. It's like, oh crap, FF8, seriously? So no, there's not an FF8 remake. This is an FF8 remaster.
It doesn't even deserve that.
Oh man, Cleric. I'd love to see you and Cleric talk about this.
No, you wouldn't.
No.
We've had one discussion, and I know I ticked them off.
Yeah. So there's some interesting history behind this. So the source disk for FF8 was actually lost time ago, and that was actually one of the reasons cited why remastering of this hadn't happened sooner. But apparently that's been patched up because here it is. And this is something I think that a lot of people would have expected way earlier, considering where we are with FF9 now. That's out on Steam. It's got its remaster and stuff. It's like everything else does these days, even 12. But yeah, an FF8 remaster is finally happening. That was a genuine surprise. I don't think that was on anybody's radar.
No, that's because look, I understand there's huge fans of Final Fantasy VIII.
Sure.
I know that it's got a huge following, or it's got a strong following.
Yep.
But it's also a niche following. This, in a lot of people's eyes as well, just like myself, feel that this is by far the worst Final Fantasy. And it's funny because people tend to fall in one or two camps.
Yeah.
I don't understand why they're doing this. I don't know how they found that source disk. I knew I hid that thing well. I don't know how they found it. But whatever. All right, look, if you're going to remaster this game, do you at least want to do the most basic step you should have done and at least allow people to use items and not have to master into using items?
I've always said about FF8, the one thing that I think they'd have a chance to do, and I don't think they will, unfortunately, if they remaster, but what I'd love to see would, like you said, revisit the junction system, revisit how items and all that work. It bothered me so badly in FF8. I really want to use that spell, but it's going to mess up my stats. So I'm going to leave it alone. And then, and having like all your main commands like tied to it was frustrating. It was really, really frustrating. So.
I joke around with this a lot, but honestly, Final Fantasy VIII's trash. I know it's got a strong following, but I'm in the other camp, and I always have been. I mean, I bought that game. I didn't get very far in it. 8 and 10, after 7, I didn't finish 8 and 10. I almost finished 10. I played 9. 9 was really good. Just whatever.
Yeah,
I won't be touching it.
I'm one of those weirdos that didn't have a full on like revolt against 8, but it wasn't my favorite either. I'm just like I enjoyed 8. Yeah, I beat it. It came out. I went through it. I thought it was fun. The junction system and stuff like that got on my nerve. And I, to this day, I'm like I really want to use my tornado and ultimate spells, but I can't.
Yeah.
But yeah, like there are 8 diehards that are gonna go crazy about this, and if anything, my celebration is, you know what? They went down and they finally found where Chris hid the disc. So good on them.
It's not easy to get a 3-headed demon dog either. So now I get well, it's not guarding anything anymore, so I don't need to replace them. But jeez.
So rounding off some of the highlights of the conference, before I get to the main one here, we had another trailer for the Kingdom Hearts 3 DLC, the paid DLC that will be coming out near the end of this year. I'm going to be doing that as part of. I'm going to add that on to the playthrough that I've already done for KH3. So they seem to be hinting at a lot of some prequel stuff before KH3, because it's like we got some dialogue between Master of Masters and young Xehanort, and then we've got this whole side deal going on here with playing from different perspectives. What they showed was like some of the stuff that happened near the end of KH3, but instead of like playing as Sora in that part, like you play as Roxas or you play as someone else. So curious where they're going with all that. Curious what all it's going to cover. Again, it's called Kingdom Hearts 3 Remind. Not too sure what's going to be the cost and all that coming out, but I'll be checking that out at the end of the year. The free DLC is already out. We also had the FF14 expansion launch trailer. It's funny they call it launch trailer because the expansion is not out yet. Early access starts the 28th of this month. The full launch is going to be right at the top of July, I believe, July 2nd.
Is that normal for Final Fantasy 14 that they like do 10,000 trailers leading up to an expansion? It's like all this year I've been hearing.
Yep.
I mean, and I enjoy hearing it because I don't play MMOs anymore.
Sure.
But like all this year, it's like, oh, they came out with a trailer for 14's expansion. It's like, dude, you've said this 5 times now.
I have. And they're like different and like larger trailers each time. Look, this is because I picked up FF14 with the relaunch 2.0, and this is the most involved I've ever seen them in a release campaign for an expansion. Like here's what happened. Here's what happened. You get the announcement of an expansion, and with that comes the main trailer CG, the CG trailer for that expansion. You'll get that, and then there's like explanation like the systems and stuff like that. And then there's a build up where you see some stuff about like the job and class trailers and stuff like that. Just pure gameplay stuff, seeing like new functions, new skills, all that kind of thing. And then maybe a short story teaser like right before the expansion hits. What they've done here, though, this is just next level. I mean, we had the expansion release trailer, and then you had the expansion plus release trailer, and the expansion plus trailer, and then the plus trailer that finally gave you everything that they didn't show in the original CG trailer. And now we've got this story trailer like all the way out, weeks before we still get expansion. It's crazy. They've gone nuts with this. Given, look, 14. I was happy. I thought it's kind of nuts that they're doing all this and the timing they're doing it. But hey, I'm about to be playing that like crazy in a few weeks. So, yeah, it was fun. It was fun. Especially they dropped some real lore bombs for those that follow things close. Finally, then Dragon Quest Builders 2 and Dragon Quest 11. There was some stuff on that. I always chuckle because every time I see Dragon Quest, I think of Dragon Ball. I mean, everybody looks like Super Saiyans. That I don't know.
Every time I hear Dragon Quest, I remember when my brother and I played that way back in the day, the first one.
Oh, wow.
And we picked the bad ending.
Oh, man.
Yeah, we became bad guys. Whoops.
I miss when games could do that. The original Streets of Rage had that.
Yeah, I saw that recently.
It's good. It's good stuff. But there's something near certain IP near and dear to both Chris and I that has been worked on in silence, pretty much relative silence by Square and because they're actually collaborating with a bunch of other companies for this. This is the Avengers, the Marvel IP that Square has been preparing to release. And man,
woo.
Where do we start, Chris?
Oh, you missed it. You missed it.
Yeah.
You missed the mark. Swing and a miss.
Where's Hawkeye?
Where's Hawkeye? Look, all right. When we were talking about this earlier in the week, I think it'd be summed up very well here. Look, the gaming community, let's say, have been putting on a brave face on this game and have really been trying to get around the fact that no, this looks like shit. It does. It looks like shit. We just watched Avengers Endgame like what 2 months ago, 2 months ago. Not even. I don't.
Not even. Yeah.
And you follow it up with this turd, and maybe even multiple people, but people need to be fired over in the art conceptual department. The thing is that a lot of people in the gaming industry have really been like, oh yeah, you can't wait. Your casual players though are pooping all over this thing. This was, and that's what I thought was going to happen. And they announced it the next day. I was on a movie web. You ever been to movie web?
No, I actually haven't. Oh.
Yeah, they're garbage for the most part. But they're very popular. They talk about as much rumor as they talk about fact, but they're very popular. And they had mentioned on social media about Marvel Avengers, which obviously is a huge thing. Almost unanimous, just raking it through the coals. Mm-hmm. Look at what Black Widow looks like a she-male. Hulk looks fine.
Hulk's Hulk.
Yeah, Iron Man looks like a generic GoBot. Captain America looks like he's an alcoholic. And so on. And those are the nice ones. The overall consensus was this looks generic and shitty. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That matters. I mean, this game may play really well. We saw very little gameplay.
I was hoping
little gameplay.
I think that could have been a saving grace for the reveal.
Yes, I agree. Yeah. I agree. But visually and what people are taking away from this is ew. Just ew. They need to fix that. I don't know. I honestly don't understand how they got to the point of making this presentation and they took this there and they said that was okay. I really don't. Visually, it's very unappealing.
Yeah, even if there's issues, with likenesses or the current Marvel contracts, Robert Downey Jr., etc. There's an understanding here. Marvel is at an all-time high of hype levels. You just had this hype explosion known as Endgame, and the way Marvel have presented these characters over these years, since Iron Man especially, in the build they've done, they've cemented in a certain block in our mind now of just the collective conscious, I think, for them, just like the whole general feel, the look. So when you evoke a sort of pseudo realistic Marvel universe, I think anytime you step outside of Marvel animation, and you go outside of more like the cartoon realm into something closer to MCU, there's a certain general, I think, expectation for, this is what this is in our hearts now. This is what we kind of feel when we what we look for when we see MCU and things like that. And I think if you miss that, you're in for a world of hurt.
And I don't disagree with anything you said there, but I think even before all that, I mean, there's decades of these characters having been around in the source material, the comics. I mean, they missed that.
This is true.
I mean, again, Hulk looks fine, but it's the Hulk. All right, it's pretty hard to screw up the Hulk, quite honestly. But big green. All right, you got that one. I mean, but now if I am nitpicking, and I am a little bit now at this point, Black Widow looks horrible. That face is just completely wrong. When it comes to Thor and Captain America, it is kind of hard to miss. It is kind of hard to pinpoint it, but they do. They look like generic versions of themselves.
Right.
They look like generic dollar store, Korean-made toys where instead of it being Captain America, it's Captain United States.
Right.
Iron Man's actually not too bad. There's different moments where, but he shouldn't be looking. They shouldn't have any problem with it. It's just like, why are you why are you showing me this? Because you've been silent for how long? 2 years now since they got the contract.
Yeah, a couple at least.
And why are you, and this is what, it's like, this is what you show me? I remember not too long ago, you and I were like, we haven't heard anything since that contract, that 3-game contract that Square Enix got with Marvel to make these games. And so you kept your mouth shut, and this is what you come at me with? Maybe you should go talk to the guys developing Final Fantasy VII Remake. They at least know how to keep their mouth shut.
Oh Lord. So,
yeah, it's bad.
It could have is unfortunate too, because I think with Marvel going along with everything else, I think could have been a really cool crescendo point for the rest of this conference. This is something that people have had a lot of eyes on, and they've really been expecting, with so many big name studios involved in collaborating for it. But I think this has got some work to go before we get polished.
Yeah.
More polish, more things added. We need more in the gameplay. All of that.
That being said, I am excited for the new story that they're going to be doing. Brand new story, which is actually kind of hard to do after about 50 years or so of adventures. So,
It is.
Seeing Hank Pym at the end there was neat, although he doesn't look right either. But he doesn't. All right. Anyways, I'm trying not to get thrown off. I really hope that Marvel is able to connect the tissues enough. I did note that they said specifically that they're on the West Coast, and in Spider-Man said in the game that the Avengers are currently on the West Coast.
True.
I hope that Marvel is allowed and able to connect everything here. That would be really cool. You got to fix things visually, though. That it's just so I mean, look, I'm trying to be more. I'm trying not to be so critical and rip on things.
No, of course.
It just looks unappealing.
Right.
It just looks bad and unappealing, and I don't want to buy it. And right now, I'm not going to.
Right.
The 4-player thing sounds neat. They're going to be adding on other characters as time goes on, and I was glad that they specifically noted, hey, you don't have to pay for any of them. That's good. That's good to hear. That being said, also, stop telling people to cheer like they're at a freaking concert. Good God.
You heard that a lot. A lot.
They've been pushing this for a while. Basically, they've been pushing this off and on since the G4 days. It's not like that, guys. It's never going to be like that.
No.
Something like Keanu Reeves, that deserves it. All right?
That does.
Seeing generic Captain America on screen, no. That's not going to do it. Quit telling your interns and their buddies to scream like they're at a concert. Just stop it.
Oh man. So yeah, something that I think could have again been a potential huge crescendo point, but still needs a lot to it. There is hope for extra characters. The guy that yelled, "Where's Hawkeye?" They basically hinted, which is hilarious by the way. They basically hinted at as time goes on, there's going to be more unlockables, other characters you can play as. The one gameplay thing, real quick before we move on from it, the one gameplay thing we did get that I really wish wasn't the case. It was confirmed that this is 4 players, right? No.
Yeah, you mentioned that, but we don't even have a platform on this.
We don't know.
So, if it actually has kind of an old school like arcade 4-player feel to it,
yeah,
I'm cool with that.
Sure.
I don't know. We don't know much about it other than it's an Ugo. We know the game's an Ugo. That's about it.
This is true. So, oh man, I want to be excited about it, but I'm not. I'm just not there yet. This one.
Well, that's what Square Enix does. They let you down.
I did. Yeah. That's what I got for you about that. Yeah. So, alrighty. We had a conference here that where we remiss not to go over this. Nintendo. There was a lot of excitement over their event. There was quite a bit we got here, especially for the Nintendo Treehouse, what they call it, like the play events that they do, where they have the devs there. They sit down for about 30 minutes to an hour and they go through gameplay here.
Do
There's
they
some
call it a tree house?
Nintendo Treehouse.
That's adorable.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's I think the biggest thing on the plate here is a sequel to Zelda Breath of the Wild. That sent people crazy.
Boom. And they could have just like dropped the mic and just walked off.
Could have. That's
if
all they needed.
if they were actually in person.
Yeah, they could.
But they could have. They just not even say a word. Just show the trailer, drop the mic, walk off the stage. That's right.
People would flip. Would absolutely flip. But yeah, man. I mean, this is a pretty big deal. You know, Breath of the Wild had a really solid reception behind it. I think people just weren't expecting the follow up to it. And as if that wasn't enough, Zelda fans, we finally got a lot of fleshed out details for Link's Awakening, for the remake of that, and this looks like a lot of fun. Now, Link's Awakening is the only Zelda game I've actually fully gone through myself. I remember playing it on via portable years back, but they've retained the essence of it. You know, it's still the thing that makes me smile about Zelda games. You know, going to somebody's house, smashing everything to pieces, and then getting a reward for it, and then walking out again.
Yeah, Link's going around trying to save the world, and he's gonna go through every house and destroy them all on the way to saving the world. You'll be alive. You won't have any possessions left, but you'll have your life in your apocalyptic Link's Awakening.
So, but both of those, I think, just those everything we got, those was great. All the gameplay we saw for Link's Awakening was pretty sweet, and I said, man, if I already had a Switch, this would be obvious.
I'm almost disgusted that I like it. It's so freaking cute.
Right?
It's almost this like,
right?
I should not like this. Little me liked this.
See, it hit a chord. It hit a chord, right?
It does. Yeah.
Man, but that's gonna be super exciting. Along with that, now we do have some ports coming to Switch. And I do want to make a note about these after I'm done talking about what they are. We got Witcher 3, Wild Hunt, Alien Isolation, and also Ni no Kuni, Wrath of the White Witch. Now,
that was my name in high school.
Ni no Kuni.
No, well, that too, but mainly Wrath of the White Witch.
I really would have thought for you they'd say Wrath of the Dracolich, but
oh, your time frame's off there.
Okay,
but.
fair enough. But one thing about the Switch is that we were talking about this. They don't have the same. Obviously, they don't have the same power scale as PS4 and Xbox to tap, and I think they're already. It really seems like they're already pressing, kind of hitting that ceiling as far as what we're to expect. With ports and things coming out. This is one of the slight downsides, I think, to things being available in so many platforms. If you do actually get something at a slightly lower quality than you would just playing it elsewhere. I think you're going to see that. It's cool that Nintendo is embracing these multi-platform things more than they did in the past. But I've always said their strong suite and what they've consistently done so well. The Star Foxes, the Zeldas, the Marios, the Smash, all their own stuff, they do that justice. And they do it so well on their platform. But when you start to see stuff that was, catered towards a more high-octane engine, you start to see some cracks. I think you're going to see that with these.
It's interesting, Ian, because we're getting reintroduced to an old friend. And that's the generic shit port. All right, we haven't seen this in about 2 generations, but you go back a couple, and this is an old pal that's been around for a while. You'd see it mainly on the Sega systems, but sometimes on the Nintendo ones as well. Nintendo would like to think they never had them. No, sometimes they were close friends.
Oh yeah.
But we haven't seen this since I think the last time we really started seeing this was like PS1, PS2, the PS3s and the current gen. It's hardware and software has been compatible enough to where we haven't been getting this. I'm already hearing that Witcher 3 looks really bad.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, ports have been in pretty good shape, and more often than not, you have not been able to really tell a real difference in the game visually or gameplay, or there was such a minute difference it didn't matter. But we're meeting up with this old guy again, and I mean I've never been a big fan.
Right.
It wasn't until the latter end of the Super Nintendo where I started hanging out with this guy. I knew he existed, but I never had a Sega system because, quite honestly, that's where he hung out with the most, and we all know that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, generic shitty port guy hung out on the Segas more than anywhere else. He loved them. Yeah, I don't like this guy. Well, it'll be funny. It'll be funny to see how far they'll push this, because there's definitely there is this I'm trying to think of the term right now. There's definitely a call for ports coming to the Switch, and I think the question is now, how shitty are you going to let these things get?
Right.
Because they're really moving into some territory. It's like, this really shouldn't be on the Switch, but the only reason it is because money.
Yeah.
So you take a game like Alien Isolation that came out, 5-6 years ago?
Yeah, which was fantastic, by the way, and extremely scary, I thought.
Yeah. And you put that on the it's interesting because I think that's like, hey, our projections say we could make this much money porting this over to the Switch. All right, do it.
Yep.
That's where they're at. So
yeah. So man, it's just that guy. It's just that friend in your class you never wanted to get reacquainted with. Oh well.
Yeah. Yeah, you forgot about him.
Yeah, forgot.
You haven't seen him much.
Oh man. Rounding off some of the stuff we saw at Nintendo here. Look, another series I don't follow at all. But Animal Crossing. We got a trailer for that. It's like they're pushing back the release and stuff on it, but they did show off a lot of the gameplay. The fact that it's going to be taking place on a remote island, more about the new building system, like the partnering system, the stuff you can do with like NPCs and all that. So, Animal Crossing, it's always funny. It's just, at least in my circle, people playing that game. The people who I've talked to that love Animal Crossing usually aren't involved in a whole lot more. Gaming wise, there aren't like a lot of series that they follow like really closely, but they love the heck out of Animal Crossing, or maybe like Pokemon Go, stuff like that. Things you can kind of graze on lighter. And I've always kind of smiled looking at Animal Crossing. I'm like, it feels like Minecraft light. Maybe that's just me. I don't know.
I would say this because I was surprised you and I talked about this earlier. This has got to be one hell of a fan base to where they're not pissed that this game got pushed back.
Yeah.
That's shocking to me because you and I were talking about that, and you're like, yeah, no, they're fine with it. I'm like, really? Mm-mm. I'd be pissed. Because it's been forever since the last Animal Crossing, hasn't it?
I don't know the last release. I'd actually have to look.
I think so. I think it's been a very long time. All right, now I'm going to look it up.
No, there you go. But, yeah, one I haven't followed. As you look up Animal Crossing, I want to go into another game they had here. Huge info dump on Pokemon Sword and Shield. We had gameplay showcase, the new Dynamax mechanic, which is kind of like, how can I explain this? It's basically like Godzilla-sized like Pokemon battles. The release date for this is set for the 15th, November 15th of this year. And also, important little note here: this is the first time a Pokemon game has come out based off a Nintendo console instead of being on like a mobile or like a portable platform first, or something like that. So. Interesting departure. You guys probably remember Pokemon Stadium or stuff from that way back, where you had different ways of kind of, cross-porting info to and from and stuff like that. But yeah, they're basically trying to up the caliber of the gym battles with the whole like Dynamax thing. And then if you catch a huge like Dynamax Pokemon, they're supposed to have like crazy stats and all that stuff. But the last Pokemon thing I remember was Pokemon Yellow, and then Pokemon Red and Blue, like back for Game Boy. So don't ask me about everything else that's been going on in the series. I can't tell you. So
yeah, same.
But
the very first Animal Crossing came out in 2001.
There you go.
Then there was a 2005, and then various different versions up to even 2015. So I guess it hasn't been that long. Oh, and there's one in 2017.
There you go.
So I guess nothing to bitch about.
All right. Finally, a couple things here. Astral Chain. This is Platinum Games' next action title coming out, very heavily anime style. This is going to release this August. Anybody who's a huge fan of the cell shaded style, you might have seen a bit of this in Dragon Ball Fighters and some other cool stuff from Arxis. It really follows along those lines. It's set for just like the hyper stylish, super fast anime Zone of the Enders style gameplay. We've seen some previews for this, but they delved into it a little bit more. There's some new trailers for that you might want to check out. And last but not least, Smash fans had a lot to celebrate. Smash Brothers Ultimate, the announcement of Banjo-Kazooie joining the Smash cast.
What is a Banjo-Kazooie?
Did you ever play Banjo-Kazooie?
No, I mean, I've heard this name throughout the years. What is it?
N64.
Okay, well, that's why. I didn't have an N64.
He was the bear dude that had, like, the bird on his shoulder.
Okay, all right. I knew. Okay, that's... Subconsciously, I was leading to that. Okay, I knew what a Banjo-Kazooie was.
See, you did.
Right.
You see, you did. Trust your gaming sense, Luke.
Yeah.
But this is a pretty big deal just because Banjo-Kazooie has been absent for like forever from so many different properties, and we think back to the days of 64, and then when Rare was still rolling, in full, when you had Donkey Kong and stuff. This is sort of like one of the lost arc chapters that you just don't get to see connected to games anymore. In fact, they even made a wink and a nod to that. Donkey Kong, Diddy Kong, and King K. Rool freaked out when Banjo shows up. And it was just kind of a moment because it's like, all Rare games. It's like, I see what you're trying to do, Nintendo, good stuff. But the trailer was really fun. It was a fun reveal. The Smash fans went insane about it. Smash Brothers is already, of course, it's doing really well. It's one of the most watched games that I see for fighting game live events and stuff like that. I know it's going to have a huge turnout for EVO. I know even at PAX, when I was at PAX earlier this year, I was just blown away by the crowd that was camping to watch Smash Brothers. So another cool announcement. Nintendo, I think, have made all the right steps with this one. It's like each release, they just build the hype train a bit more. And that game's ridiculous. Like, some of my friends call Smash Brothers video games the game right now. Because it's literally where you'll see... The only thing I can think of where you'll see Cloud Strife alongside, like, the dog from Duck Hunt, alongside a Piranha Plant.
The dog from Duck Hunt's in there?
Yep, sure is.
All right, I'm getting a Switch. That's definitely hitting YouTube later, though.
Dude, Smash Brothers is insane. Like, you got Street Fighter, you got, like, Ryu and Ken in there, and then, like, as an extra character, like, Guile's there for assist. You got Persona character. It's nuts.
Tell me the dog from Duck Hunt smacks people in the face with ducks, though.
There is a mechanic with the duck. I don't know if he actually grabs... I need to look at his move list. I don't know.
That sounds dirty. There is a thing you can do with the duck.
If you're into bestiality, dude, I'll leave that to you. All right.
It's just funny how you said it. It's like, there is something you can do.
Oh, man. But I think that rounds out our list for Nintendo and the rest of what we saw. So again, if you've come with us to this point, thank you so much. But
here's a cookie.
Here's a cookie. Should I? Did you want info minute? Because I got it.
Do you have an info minute?
Dude, I got it. Dude, it's a Jagged Edge. I always got to have an info minute.
Okay, before we do info minute though, real quick, biggest highlight for you for the year.
The E3?
Yeah.
FF7 remake.
Yeah, I guess that's an easy one.
Hands down, dude. That 20. It hasn't felt like 4 years. It really hasn't. And when I look back,
it feels like 20 because it's been over 20 since the game came out.
I know. Well, besides FF7, I mean, last time we had a reveal on remake news, it's felt more like a year and a half or 2 years for me. But it's just
it's been about a year and a half. They released a trailer and some gameplay, and then they scrapped it.
Yeah. We had you had the 2015 announcement, and then you had the PlayStation Experience. That was the other first look we got at the gameplay with that, where they delved into it. Right, that was when they still had the CyberConnect assets and stuff. Yeah. And then that went by the wayside. We haven't seen anything trailer related since. I want to say that second trailer was in 2016, I think. But I actually need to go back and look at the release in that. Anyway, I'm still blown away by it, dude. I'm thrilled. It's not every day. It's a crazy kind of thrill because it's a gaming event. I'm thrilled and I'm so happy it's coming, but I'm also thrilled and worried. The hype of like, man, how many parts? How are they going to land this thing? before PS5. There's so much surrounding it that I just couldn't be further off the scale for. So I'm going nuts, man. I'm going nuts. It's like gaming singularity for me. So,
biggest disappointment?
Biggest letdown. If I was more into it at this point, I'd say Anthem, but I can't really count Anthem as part of E3 technically.
You can't really count Anthem as a game.
No, I gotta say, I'm gonna give it to Marvel, the Avengers.
Oh yeah, that was pretty bad.
I'm gonna give it to that. It's just from how like the silence surrounding that, I kind of had a pretty high bar set with it, and the pace that had already been set from that conference too. It's just like, all right, this can only go up from here. I hope, and I'm like, they still got to announce Avengers. I'm like, you did FF7 remake, you had all this. Avengers is still there. That's everything I can get crazy into. Let's go, and yeah. So.
You can hear some people trying to be excited too.
You can. The fans want it to succeed, man. They genuinely do. I really believe that. But
highlight for me is going to be the release date for Doom Eternal, although that shouldn't have been the highlight. The highlight should have been, and this is not my biggest disappointment, it would have been if one other thing had happened, which was no release date for The Last of Us 2.
Yeah.
Doom Eternal, I'm going to kill so many demons. Be careful, hell. The biggest disappointment, though, I'll bloviate about stuff and yell and fuck you, that's bullshit. The developers for that Shenmue, how do you pronounce it?
Shenmue.
Yeah. Man, that's dirty.
Yeah.
That is. Oh, you guys suck. You do. You really suck. That's the biggest disappointment. I mean, how are you going to do your fan base? By the way, the whole reason you have a job and a game because they funded it, and you're going to do them wrong like that in the end.
Probably the worst slap in the face to a fan base I've seen in a long time.
I mean, it's one thing, you can say that about anything. Well, we have a job because of our fan base. Yeah, no, literally they funded you.
Yep.
Like, you literally took the dollars they gave you to eat.
Yep.
And to pay, to pay for this game, and to switch things on a platform like that when it's controversial. And why? What is the sole reason to go with Epic instead of Steam? Money. That's the sole reason. Dirty. Oh, so dirty.
When are they going to learn, man? Don't treat your fans like that.
It's so messed up. Besides that, it would be the non-release date. Yeah, Doom though. I mean, I remember at the end of the last E3, there was like just that tiny little trailer, and I'm like, oh my god, I'm all about that. When are we finding out something? It's been a year. Finally, it's like a couple months ago. I'm just like, we're not going to hear anything until E3.
Yeah.
Anything more. And now I got to wait another 5 months. That's all right. Yeah, that's all right. No, that's fine. It's all right. But yeah, Doom Eternal highlight.
Good stuff, man. But before I wrap up the segment, hey, look, what were you guys? Did you have any specific highlights? Did you have any specific lows? If look, you want to talk about it? Talk about it below. Throw us a comment. Give us a heads up about that. We'd love to go back and forth with you on that, on what you saw, what you didn't see, maybe something that you wish was there but that wasn't, and everything else in between. But till then, it's time for an info minute. All right, for something that has nothing to do with gaming. And Chris, here's a shock. I'm not going to ask you a question to kick off this time.
Oh, all right. I'm just going to sit back and listen.
That's all you got to do. All right. There's a certain, as far as places in the world that I don't think I'll ever visit. Africa is high on my list for somewhere I'm not interested in going. The germs and like the terrors are crazy, the mosquitoes are crazy, the animals are crazy. List goes on. I mean, I know I could go somewhere like Johannesburg or something like that, or go chill it. But it's just not on my list. But I saw this. I ran across this article and I said, all right, now it's really not. It's really not. turns out in Africa there's a piranha that was caught recently that actually hunts crocodiles. I did not.
What?
I had no idea they could even get to that size. And by the way, these little boogers, look, they're terrifying enough alone, at a regular size. There's an old legend about the fish called the nickname the Mbenga, and it's garnered a bad rep as a result. So look, this thing was crazy when it was caught. This was 30 kilograms of weight. The length of this was more than a meter. It's not the record because there are cases of individual fish having like 1.5 meters long and weighing up to like 50 kilograms like total. But still, to find something like this thing actually in a habitat, I'll link you a picture. Chris,
Please, that's okay. You don't have to.
Okay,
you don't want. I'm joking. Do it after the show, though.
Yeah, I'll do it after the show. I say you don't want nightmare fuel. I understand, but no, to actually catch something like this, in a habitat about going after things like crocodiles was absolutely insane, and I never thought a piranha could get this big. So, world's a crazy place, man.
For the world, for clarification, this is not a pack of piranhas that go after giant, dangerous carnivores. This is one piranha.
Yep.
Holy shit. That's nuts.
Yeah.
That's nuts. Thank you.
Yeah, the world's amazing, but there are things I don't want to see in person.
I mean, there's actual scientific arguments that could be made that the alligator and the crocodile are some of the world's most perfect killing machines. That's how they were when they were dinosaurs. Yeah. All right. Evolution has not been needed. Okay. They're still the same way. But a piranha's killing them. I mean, excuse me. That's the predator. Is a piranha.
Yeah,
that's nuts. What you said? Africa? Thank you. I'm crossing that off my list too.
Nope. Yeah, the size that it's bear in mind it's some of the gators you see down in New Orleans, down by like Louisiana and stuff like the Bayou, and like how crazy large this. We're not talking about a case like that, because then you're talking about that they're crazy tail spans and stuff too. But yeah, it's way bigger than a piranha should be. I'm gonna leave it at that. So
where can people look at this if they want to?
You can go to there's a couple of different spots. I found this one via Animalian.com.
I was gonna say in a horror movie.
Yeah, in a horror movie. No. But this is a recent post as of the 13th. 13th of this month. So, I
mean, that's almost like something where if you kill that piranha, you have to eat him so that you can gain his power.
Yeah.
Jeez.
It's like a Mega Man power-up. You gain?
Yeah.
Oh, man. That's
Jesus.
Awesome.
All right. There it is.
All right, that's all I got for you guys. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening. Hope to hear more from you guys. As always, stay tuned right here on our channel for more. Until next time, you guys take it easy. Have a good one. Hey people, thank you for tuning into this episode and taking a listen. If you like our content, if you like what you're listening to, is there anything to go over, hey, please, we would not only love to hear more from you, but if great, you could throw some support. You can subscribe right below. Also, you can toss us a line anytime. That's ksongmedia@gmail.com. Of course, you can tune in for our channel anytime for movie reviews, game reviews, a lot of random wacky stuff. Who knows what you'll hear. And of course, our episode each week where we're bringing the nerdiest things we can find, dig up, and maybe not find. Maybe the stuff that just drops in our laps. But anyway, hey, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for listening, and we hope to hear from you again later. Take care.